Sometimes people ask me, why do you do personal injury law? Sometimes I get the feeling that they think that maybe there's something wrong with that. I couldn't disagree more. I was brought up to believe that if I was, when I was a kid, my parents told me, if you're in the backyard and you kick a ball over the fence or hit a ball over the fence and you break the neighbor's window, it's your responsibility as the negligent person. Of course, my parents didn't use negligence, but that's essentially what they meant. Your responsibility as the negligent person to march over there, knock on their door, apologize, and offer to make it right. For some reason, when people get older and grow up, things change. They think, if I get involved in an automobile accident and I'm not at fault, the other person's at fault, I'm doing something wrong by making a claim. That's absolutely absurd. If we were to apply what we learned in kindergarten, we would understand that what should happen is the person who was at fault for causing the accident should come up to the person who was injured and offer to make it right and do everything they can to make it right. But our society is far from that. I recognize that and I realize that. But there's nothing wrong with holding people responsible for their wrongful acts. And that's exactly what we do in personal injury law. By doing that, we make society a better place. When people are responsible for acting carelessly or negligently, society is safer. We make our roads safer, we make our hospitals safer, we make our entire society a better place to live. I wish we could live in a society where people naturally would come up and take responsibility for their own wrongful conduct. Unfortunately, we don't. And that's where I come in as an attorney. I force people or their insurance companies to take responsibility for their wrongful conduct. Now, what do we ask them to do, or what do we force them to take responsibility for? Well, there's a couple things that we ask them to do. Number one, we ask them to fix problems they've caused. How do they fix those problems? Well, one of the most obvious ways is to pay for vehicle damage that they've caused. Another thing that they can do to fix problems is to pay them for medical bills. They might also pay for lost income. By paying money, they can fix some of the problems that they've caused. Now, there's other problems that simply cannot be fixed, but they can be made up for. Let me give you an example. Sometimes if an accident or a wreck is serious, an injured person may suffer lost income in the future. By giving money to the accident victim, the person who acted wrongfully can make up for that loss, the loss of future income. Finally, we expect people who act carelessly or negligently to make up for the harms that they've caused. Now, what kind of harms might they cause? If you think about your life and you think about what's important in your life, why do you live? What's important to you? I would expect it's not going to the doctor's office. Nobody relishes that and really desires that in life. For a lot of people, it's not even going to work. What's really important to you? I would expect it's probably your family relationships, your friends, it's playing with your children, it's that type of thing. When somebody is injured, they're prevented from doing a lot of the things in their life that actually give them enjoyment, their whole reason for living. And a person who causes that injury has a moral obligation to make up for those harms that they caused. It's not simply enough to pay for lost income. A person who causes injuries needs to make up for other harms in other areas of life. Now, how are they going to make up for those things? If your back hurts so bad that you can't get down on the floor and play with your kids, well, I suppose they could come over and play with your kids, but that's not very realistic, is it? Especially if they're a negligent person. You probably don't want them anywhere near that. And so in our legal system, in our society, we've decided that money is the best way to make up for that. And so in a personal injury claim or lawsuit, that's what we ask for, is the person who acted wrongfully to take responsibility for their actions and to fix the harms that they caused, fix the problems that they caused, to make up for any deficits that they caused, and to pay for the harms that they cause. When we do that, when we force people to do that, people who may not be excited about doing it, they may be reluctant about doing it, but we force them to do it, we make society a better place to live. And that's why I practice personal injury law.